cake in the box so when we finish.
Thinking about it. We're live on Facebook.
Right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. How are we all doing?
All right.
Good,
Okay.
Good, Helen?
Yo. Yeah.
So, Jacki, who have you got cooking with you at Heathlands today?
I have Simon Murray.
Hello.
Hi, Simon.
And to the left of me, I have Richie.
Yo.
Hello.
We've
So-
all washed our hands, took our jewellery off, Simon especially, tied my hair up, pennies on.
Penny's on. So, the only thing I've got left to do is I've got to take my jewellery off. So, there we go. Hands washed, apron on, jewellery off,
Yeah.
hair tied back. All
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, good.
To our first proper live cooking session. So we've done some cooking sessions before, but we've always kind of had a pre-recorded video for you guys to watch. This time we're going to do everything live. Today, what we're making is shepherd's pie. So the difference between shepherd's pie and cottage pie is what, Richie?
One's lamb mince and one's beef mince.
What are we using today?
Lamb.
Correct. So we are making shepherd's pie today.
Yay.
Do you want to come and say hello? Come
Oh.
here. Eva wanted to come and say hello to everybody.
Hi. Yo.
We're cooking live. Okay? Off to- Right, okay, so our ingredients for our shepherd's pie are lamb mince, which we've got half a kilo here, potatoes for our mash, we've got some carrots to dice up to put in, we've got some onion and some garlic. If you don't have garlic, which I realise Heathlands doesn't because I forgot, you can use garlic granules or garlic powder to substitute. We've got some gravy granules, some green herrings for extra flavour, some milk for our mash, and actually at the background here, we've got butter for our mash as well. What we're going to start off by doing is peeling all of our potatoes to put onto the boil for our mash. So we want to get that on first because we need the potatoes cooked and mashed fairly quickly. Now, I do believe Jacki has been very well prepared and has already started peeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to bear with me as I peel all my potatoes. What I have done is I've boiled a kettle. So instead of putting the potatoes on to boil with cold water, I'm starting them with boiling water at the kettle, which should make things go a bit quicker because we're not waiting for the water to heat up. Now, some of you might have noticed that I've got two cameras going. There's the one in front of me, but there's also this one here. So this is the one for where we're going to be doing our cooking. I was going to try and use our induction hob at home, which is like it's an electric hob that you plug in. And I was going to have it on the board here, but I couldn't get it to work properly.
Oh.
I need to do some practice with that.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, not next week, but the week after, on our next cooking show, it's not going to be me delivering. I think it's going to be Jacki. Is that right?
The what, sorry?
So not next week, because next week's bingo, but the week after, are you delivering the cooking session, Jacki?
I am, if that's okay with everybody.
I think that would be fantastic. So
Great stuff.
we'll have to think of something that we would like to cook. I'm cooking shepherd's pie today because Alan actually suggested this a couple of weeks ago. So it was Alan's suggestion that we do shepherd's pie. And it is one of my favourites, actually. I love it.
Well,
How are we getting on?
Anybody that knows me knows that whenever I work in the kitchen, I always try the dish at home the night before.
So guess what they had for tea last night?
Shepherd's pie.
Delicious. Yeah, lamb is probably one of Mark and I's favourite meats to cook.
I like lamb.
Love lamb for a roast dinner, love lamb for a curry. Really like moussaka. Have any of you guys had moussaka before?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think I have.
Oh, it's delicious, Jackie. Moussaka is basically like the Greek version of lasagna, but instead of layering it up with pasta, you layer it up with potatoes and aubergine. So it's basically like a lasagna, but not, and it's made with lamb mince, and it's absolutely delicious.
Nice.
So that's my potatoes peeled. I'm now going to roughly chop them in this pan with boiling water.
I'm just going to get the hot water on our side.
So that's our potatoes going on the back here. So I'm just going to turn the heat on. Don't need to be too high because, as I say, I've pre-boiled the kettle. So I'm going to drop them in as I chop them. And you don't need to be exact about how you cut these because we're going to do the mash with it. So it's all going to get mashed up eventually.
Do you want to grab the iPad and show them what they're doing?
Yeah.
Now, don't worry if you make too much mash because one of the lovely things about mashed potatoes is you can do other things with it. So if I end up making too much mash, like if I'm doing a dinner or something, you could do what's called bubble and squeak the next day.
Or sausage and mash.
You can use it for sausage and mash the day after. Or one of the things I really love to do is mix tuna in with the mashed potato and make my own fish cakes.
Oh yes, you could do that.
So yeah, a little bit of mashed potato left over is actually really, really good for fish cakes. So as I say, I'm not worried if I've made too much. So that is our potatoes all chopped and on the boil for our mash.
I'm looking at a gravy box there.
So the next thing we need to do, once you've got your potatoes on to boil, is we need to peel and dice our onion. You want it fairly fine. We also want to peel and dice our carrots. And you can use one or two, it doesn't matter. I'm probably only going to use one actually for this recipe, but we'll see once it's chopped. But you want to chop this up quite small because we're going to put this in the pan with the onion to fry. So if I bring my waste bowl back over here, and I always try when I'm cooking to have like a rubbish bowl, especially if I'm doing lots and lots of veg. So it's easier than going backwards and forwards to the bin, basically. So, how are we getting on, guys? I'm guessing your potatoes are already on.
Our potatoes are on,
Yeah.
and we've diced the onion. The onion's all done. And we're just chopping the carrots now.
You're ahead of me then.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
How about you, then?
So, my potatoes are on, and I've peeled my onion and my carrots, but I need to start chopping them to catch up with you guys. Because you guys are so efficient. So,
We need to get rid of it.
It's good, Eva, it's coming help you.
Get Eva to come and help me.
Yeah.
She could, but she's watching a bit of television right now because she's been doing homework for school this morning.
All right, okay.
She had her first live, well, it's called Microsoft Teams, but it's basically like Zoom for school. So she had her first lesson on Zoom this morning.
So, Helen, with your carrots,
Yeah.
you cut them into quarters.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because last night I left them whole and there was a bit of a crunch to them, which was quite nice, I thought. But obviously it's different.
Well, it's up to everybody's taste. I quite like carrots still to have a bit of bite to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want them to dissolve into nothing in the pan. So I'm going to put my wok. I'm using a wok today just because it's nice and open to show you guys how we're cooking. Actually, just going to give that a little bit of a dry because there's some water in there. I'm watching it. So I'm going to turn my heat on.
Can I just say as well, if everyone can notice, Red the dog always stands in the kitchen when we're cooking because she thinks you're going to drop something.
Yeah. Can you see, Red?
Yeah, you can just see her head.
Where is
yeah.
she?
Oh, you can just...
At the bottom of the screen, you should be able to see her head.
Sorry then.
What?
Yeah.
The dog thinks thinks they're going to drop some.
There she is.
Does she always hang around Eva when Eva's eating as well? That's what.
Yes. What she's waiting for, guys, is the carrot peelings because she knows she gets them.
My dog kept sniffing the air last night. She must have been able to smell the lamb mince. She was like that, proper sniffing the air.
Oh, so yeah, put my pan on of oil, just a couple of tablespoons of vegetable oil or rapeseed oil, and we're going to gently fry our onions. You don't want to hard fry them, you just want to soften them. We don't want to caramelize them. That makes sense?
Right, Richie, you ready to?
Yeah.
So that's our onions in our oil and our frying pan. And as I say, I've got it on a very low heat so that it doesn't hard fry.
Oil in.
Can you see it, Jacki?
There you go, Red.
And then some oil in. Like
So.
that. And then some of our onions. Oh.
So onions have gone into the pan. I'm now dicing my carrots to go in as well.
There we go, and I'll go and finish dicing the carrots.
So the thing about shepherd's pie is it's nice and simple. You don't need loads and loads of ingredients. You don't need loads of herbs and spices. You can make it fancy and put extra things in. So if you were being a bit posher, you could maybe put some rosemary in. Rosemary goes really well with lamb.
Yeah, it does.
Now my potatoes are boiling, so I'm going to turn them down. And now I'm putting my carrots in. Okay? Take a moment to have a drink of tea.
Oh, Richie, you didn't make me a cup of tea. Oh, can't get the stuff, Helen.
We'll have to have one when we go.
So that's our carrots
One when we go back to it.
and our onions all frying in the same pan. So we want to let that soften for a minute or two, and then we're going to add. Now my onions got me. Just realised. Sorry, guys. So we're gonna, as I say, we're gonna let that soften for a couple of minutes. Turn it up a bit. And then once that's softened a bit, we're going to add our lamb mince to fry as well. So while you're doing this, what you can do is boil another kettle. Now, you guys at Heathlands are very fortunate because you've got a water boiler, haven't you? So you've always got hot water on tap.
Oh, they are.
Sorry, that onion's really made my eyes water.
Simon's making a cup of tea.
Oh, Simon, what a star.
Oh, what?
Thank you.
So,
Simon, you want to come and stir this while I get the hot water?
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but what we're doing is we just keep moving it around so that nothing sticks. Potatoes are still boiling, but I'm just using a knife to see if they've softened yet, and they haven't.
Good.
So, what we're doing now, while the onions and the carrots are frying, is we're boiling a kettle to make our gravy, and I'm using fresh garlic. But if you're using garlic powder or garlic granules,
Are we using garlic powder?
I would put that in a bit later when you're doing when you're frying your lamb mince. I wouldn't put it in now.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
No.
roughly chop my garlic.
Yeah, no.
Can everybody see what I'm doing? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
Good. Oh, it's getting warm in here. So, peeled my garlic,
Bit is a boiling.
and I'm just gonna roughly chop it. Don't have to be precise.
Look at that, quick, but look at that chopping to garlic.
And I'm gonna put that with our onions and our carrots. So that's our potatoes on to boil. Our onions and carrot and garlic are on frying gently.
Yeah,
Red cooker.
I was a boiling.
I just lost the carrot up the side of the pan, so Red's just edging up the floor for me.
Uh-huh.
So
well, it's going up to
that's just frying. Oh, those onions. What we need to do is we need to make some gravy ahead of making our frying our lamb. So,
I think Jackie's made our gravy.
oh, well done, Jackie. So, I'm using onion gravy because it's got a lovely deep flavour.
Onion gravy.
You could use lamb stock as well, but the problem with lamb stock is you're not going to get that really thick kind of gravy. It's going to be more watery. So, to make the gravy according to the packet's instructions. So I want about half a litre, 500 mils, which is just under a pint. So according to my gravy, that means I need 8 teaspoons. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent. Kettle's boiled. We'll make our gravy up. So I said around about half a litre or just under a pint. Yeah, see that? It's quite a lot of gravy. If you don't use it all to make your lamb mixture, you can save some back and reheat it for serving once your shepherd's pie is finished. Okay, so that's our gravy made up. If I just bring this to the camera and see. Lovely big pot of gravy. And now that our onions and carrots have started to soften, you can see that the onions have kind of started to translucent. What we want to do next is to add our lamb mince into the frying pan. So, mine's in this weird blue packet instead of a normal kind of plastic tray because this is the way it comes at work when we order from Pioneer. So I'm going to tear that open. Just put a whole lot in.
Right, lamb is going in.
Oh yeah, our mince.
Lamb's going in. I'm just going to get rid of my rubbish.
We're putting our lamb in now.
Fantastic. Sorry, I've just come up to my computer screen so I can see what you're doing. Brilliant. So, your lamb mince, like mine, probably is going to be like a big block. What you need to do is use your spoon to start breaking it apart. Yeah?
No, I bet.
Who's going to be making this then?
So, you can see I'm just using my spoon to break it. You might need to turn your heat up a little bit again, because when you add cold ingredients to a hot pan, it cools the pan down. You want to be able to hear it sizzling, but just gently.
We're sizzling.
Sizzling.
So, one of the things I should have mentioned is some of the equipment you need for making this. So obviously I've got a big frying pan, a wok. I've got another pan to boil my potatoes in, where you can see my hob kettle there. But what you also need is one of these. I'll show you there. It's a casserole dish. So I've got this lovely square Pyrex one, and this is about a litre, or about a litre or a litre and a half. This Pyrex dish. You want a casserole dish to put everything in. Yeah, warm. Okay. So,
I have to go for smaller tins.
sorry,
We
Jacki?
use for bread. Like the loaf tins.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'll work absolutely perfectly.
Yeah.
Sorry, got distracted there. One of the cats is running around. Think he's found a piece of string to play with.
Oh, well.
He's a happy cat. So that's our lamb mince on frying. So what we want to do is we want to get this cooked through, basically.
Hi.
So keep using your spoon for breaking it up. Keep it moving, and hopefully you'll be able to see your lamb mince start to brown. Now, the other thing you can add at this point, which is always good to remember, is a bit of seasoning. So we're going to have a couple of grates of salt and a good grate of pepper.
Is it salt and pepper?
Hi, Helen's just put our salt and pepper in. We're just putting our salt and pepper in now.
I absolutely love pepper, so I'll put quite a bit in. But you can do it to your own taste.
Hi, Jacki.
Now, one of the things you need to bear in mind when you're cooking lamb is it's quite a fatty meat. So as you cook this, what you might see is an awful lot of fat coming out of the meat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
What
we
we
can
might
have
do
our
Hi.
the camera.
is to very carefully drain it off.
Yeah.
So I've already got oil coming out of mine, fat coming out of mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cats crashing around the house. I'm going to set up the colander.
That's
Just
why
make
you
sure as I'm pouring the fat off that if any meat or carrots or anything drops out, it catches instead of going in the sink. So I've got my colander set up at the sink. I'm going to turn the heat down and very, very carefully take the pan over to the sink to drain that fat off.
Yep.
So there was quite a bit of fat came off mine.
Not that bad.
Not much, not much off hours actually.
Turn it up. Because what you don't want is a really fatty, frosty shepherd's pie. You don't want it to be greasy.
Nah, I want it to be nice.
So, my lamb is all nice and broken up now. I just want a bit more colour on it. I'm going to check my potatoes with my sharp knife again. Now, my potatoes are nearly done.
Ooh. Jacki's just going to take hours as well.
Yours will be too.
Yeah, Jacki's just putting a knife in there now.
I'm trying to catch one.
She's trying to catch one.
Hopefully you can see.
Yeah.
Our mince is nearly cooked. So, the next job, if you guys haven't already done it, is to preheat your oven.
We've already got our oven on.
So I'm going to turn my oven on and we're putting it to 180 degrees, I think I said.
We didn't have our oven on, but Cheryl came in and put it on for us.
Fantastic. So, my mince is pretty much cooked through. I don't know about you guys.
Helen, if you put down...
Do now. Yeah, my mince is pretty much cooked through, but I think I need to drain more fat off again. It's quite fatty meat, this.
She's draining her meat off again and stuff now.
I'm gonna have a coffee on.
As you can see, Simon's got a bit of dirt on his face.
There you go, yeah.
Look.
So, I've drained my mince off again because it was quite fatty. What we're going to do now is add our gravy to our lamb mixture.
Yeah, ours is going in now.
So add a bit at a time, because what you don't want to end up with is soup.
Jackie's just put all ours in.
I just went for it.
Fair enough.
Jackie's got Maverick.
I've got Maverick.
Right, I need more than that. So I said about 500 mils. I think I've ended up using about 300. But as I said, you can keep that gravy back and use it for serving up once our shepherd's pie is cooked. So the last thing to add to our lamb mince mixture is a good splash of Leighton
I'll be your parents. We're putting ours in now as well.
Now, if you want to laugh, ask Spiff to say Worcestershire. Because he can't do it. He can't say Worcestershire sauce.
Oh, I'll have to get it.
I don't think many people can.
I'll have to
Worcestershire
get.
sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
Let's try. So, that's a good splash of Worcestershire sauce gone into our mixture. What are we going to do?
Maverick with the Worcestershire
This
sauce.
is going Maverick with the Worcestershire sauce.
Now, what we should say is...
Helen's got to ask him.
Where's Miss Dairy gone? Come on, Slacken.
So, when we write up recipes at work, one of the things that we have to do is list what's called our allergens. And allergens are things that people are commonly allergic to. So, I'll have a drink of my tea. Get thirsty. So, the allergens in this recipe are your milk and butter and your mashed potato. So that's dairy. So a lot of people are lactose intolerant. So you can get lactose-free milk and lactose-free butter if you want to make it milk-free. The other allergen in this is, strangely enough, fish. Now, does anybody know where the fish is?
A fish.
Fish? Why would there be fish in it?
There you go. You're learning something new today. Liam herrings is actually made with anchovies.
Is it?
It is. If you look at the ingredients on the back,
Oh yeah, Jackie's just having a look.
it'll say anchovies, and in brackets, it'll have fish in bold.
Oh yes, sir, you can see. Yeah.
It also says barley in bold. Now, barley is what's used to make the vinegar, which gives it kind of acidic.
All right.
And barley's a type of gluten.
I never knew that now.
Right, so that is our lamb mixture made. And what you can do now is pour this into your casserole dish.
Wow, wait. What? Honestly.
There we go. Window, the window. It's getting really, really hot in here. So I'll just lift this to this camera for you to see. So that is our lovely shepherd's pie mixture. So next thing we need to do is we need to drain our potatoes. So I'm going to take this carefully over to the sink.
Hold on. Bread. Give it a thin layer. Yeah. And now drain the potatoes.
I've drained the potatoes. Put that out to one side. And put that to one side. Don't need that anymore. So what we're going to do is going to add a good splash of milk to our potatoes. And we want a nice knob of butter.
You know, when I'm doing mashed potato at home, I always put cream in it.
What do you always put in?
Cream.
All right. Oh, luxurious. Eva's come to say hello again. She's got a snake she's made.
Oh yes, very nice.
Just put on. Oh no. So, pepper, salt, and then we're going to mash our potatoes.
And if I'm doing mash, sometimes I add a bit of mustard.
Oh yes.
Horseradish.
You could make cheesy mash if you want to. So this is the bit where you've got to do a bit of work, really. Well done, Eva. So, if your potatoes are quite waxy and not very fluffy, you might need to add more milk, just to make it a bit smoother.
Cheryl was just saying about adding cheese to your potatoes as well. Your cheese mash.
Cheesy mash.
Or if you didn't want to make cheesy mash, what you could do is grate cheese on top.
Oh yeah, you could, yeah. Cheese, Parmesan cheese as well.
So,
Want to mash it and I'll do that.
how are we getting on, guys?
Yeah. All right. Just try Jackie and.
So if I bring this up to the camera, hopefully you can see.
Wow, look at that.
That's how mashed potatoes made. So what we need to do now, if I bring this forward, is we need to get our mashed potatoes onto our cottage pie. Just give me a second. Even shouting.
onions up here for Heathlands. Nearly done now.
It looks good.
Who's going to try this recipe at home then? Anyone?
I think Abby's asking her carer or whoever if she can do it at home.
Can't wait to get back into the kitchen at Heathlands. I think we're going to be doing some stuff for Burns next week.
Oh, is that on?
Apologies, guys. That was the doorbell.
Oh, there's a parcel come.
There's a parcel come for you, Mark.
Is that for me? Excellent. Presents when I get home.
Only you'll get it when you get home, Mark.
Oh, I'm getting all hot and flustered. Like I say, what we need to do now is get our mashed potato on top of our shepherd's pie mixture. So what I like to do is use a couple of spoons and just take a little bit at a time and kind of place it on top. So you don't want to get massive masses of potato, because if you get too much at once, it'll all just sink. You don't want that. So I'm just using one spoon to push the mashed potato off the other.
It's Simon.
Well done, Simon.
As I say, you don't want to do too much at once. And try not to press it down. Like I say, you just want to kind of lay it on top, because if you try and press it down, it's just going to sink into your gravy.
Teamwork makes dream work.
So try and get a nice even layer all over the top. If you've got any holes, go back with a little extra. I'll just cut some off the side there. I've got a little hole there. Hole there. So I've got too much mash. Now the recipe I wrote up is from, I adapted a recipe I found on the BBC website. Now, I thought the BBC recipe had way, way, way too much mashed potato for the amount of mince. So I halved it. Now, having halved it and made the mash up, I've probably still got a third left.
Oh, you can make fish cakes.
So we'll keep that and use it to make fish cakes. So hopefully you can see that's our potato placed on top, but it doesn't look particularly pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fork and very gently I'm going to kind of go across it to make a nice kind of liney pattern.
Wow, what?
And this makes it nice and even, no gaps.
We're just doing that with ours now.
So if I was being really posh, I would take the time and I would go one way, the other way, one way, the other way, one way, the other way. So if I do that.
But you're obviously not being posh.
It kind of creates this lovely basket pattern. It's the best way I can describe it. So, I'll bring this up to the camera for you guys to see. Red.
Oh, nice.
So, that is our cottage pie. No, our shepherd's pie.
Cottage pie. Cottage pie is made
All
of beef
finished
mince.
and ready to go in the oven. So, we've preheated our oven to 180 degrees, and this is going to go in the middle of the oven, and it needs to bake for about 40 to 45 minutes. So I'm going to put that in now. I'm going to use an oven glove because I don't want the heat from the oven to get
You'll be cold when you get to them then.
So as I say, in the centre of the oven, And the
That's
timer
right.
goes on for about 45 minutes.
There we go.
Ah,
We're just going to put ours in. Do you want to show the guys that we've got it on 180?
what? The 100
Right.
hang on.
So, that was how to make shepherd's pie. I hope you've enjoyed this session. It feels a bit strange doing the whole cooking process live for you guys.
What?
But hopefully it was informative and you've enjoyed yourselves. Abby, Alan, have you got any questions?
I can see Alan's really going to cook that one tonight.
All right, Alan?
I said Jacki's doing well.
Jacki's done fantastic. She's a great cook, Jacki. So,
One post to Jacki.
that was how to make shepherd's pie. Do either of you guys, or Richie and Simon at Heathlands, do you guys have a preference about what you would like to cook the week after next?
What do you want to cook next?
I think it should be Jacki's choice.
I think Jacki should choose.
Well, we're going to have a think then.
She's going to have a think.
Gonna have to have a think. Well,
We'll decide something, won't we, between the three of us?
Yeah, between the three of
have
us.
a think about it. Alan or Abby, you could tell me maybe on Friday evening when we're doing our art session, or what we might do is we might put some.
That would be.
We might ask on Friday Live on Facebook, and people could type
That would
up
be.
and maybe have a vote about what we'd like.
Not next week, because that'll be bingo.
Yeah, next week is Monkey Bingo, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and then the week after, the following week, 1 o'clock, we'll be cooking again.
Yeah.
So, thank you very, very much for joining us today. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves,
Thank you.
and we're going to say bye-bye.
Bye.
Let's see you now. Richie, you need to hit the red microphone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.